worry.
Hello and welcome to the Holo Herald Podcast. This is episode number 19, getting pretty close to 20 there. And we're just going to be discussing AR, MR, VR technologies for this podcast. We're streaming it to Twitch this time, and we're going to release it to some new platforms, so that's the reason I'm just enunciating. So I'm going to go over what the Holo Herald is really quickly for any of you first-time listeners. We're your leading source for mixed reality, augmented reality content. So we created the channel because there's a lack of this emerging technology, mixed reality, that has to do with the Hololens, AR kit. Well, AR kit's more augmented reality. We're not going to argue over nomenclature, but just that whole new emerging technology in general. We're trying to cover all that for you guys and give you guys all the content because it's quite an expensive hobby to get into, but it's such cool technology. So we're trying to bridge that gap. We make videos mostly, but this podcast is for us to get a little bit more in-depth in everything we like to talk about, and it lets us, have about an hour with our viewers, and we can get direct feedback. It's a really great time. So welcome to the podcast. We actually stream live every Monday night, sometimes a little bit later, sometimes a little bit earlier. We stream live on Twitch at twitch.tv/The Holo Herald and youtube.com/The Holo Herald. We'll be live both there at the same time, so you guys can either go to whichever one's your favorite platform and join us live. Joining us live is a really great option because you can actually get live feedback from us. You can ask us a question and we can answer it right there. Let's say you have a burning question about the HoloLens specifically. We can get in there and we can just answer that right there for you. Let's say you have a question about one of us or what we do. You can ask us right there and we can give you an answer right there. It's also great for us to give us topics to talk about and everything. So it's a great place. A lot of people normally join and it's a great conversation to have. So have us there, but if you're listening to the pre-recorded version, thank you guys for joining us there. We're going to be releasing it on a bunch of other platforms, iTunes, Google Play, some other podcast forums soon. So be checking out for that. I guess let's go ahead and introduce. I'm joined today by two guests. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, boys.
This is Austin joining you live with Eric, and I'm excited for the topics that we have prepared to discuss on the Holo Herald.
And I'm joined by my other not-so-good friend.
And it's me, Alex. Once again, joining you for the podcast. We've got lots of exciting stuff to talk about. And we started a little bit late, so let's jump right into it.
Yeah, first off, sorry for starting so late tonight. If any of you guys are joining us, we had a lot of technical difficulties. We're trying to stream to multiple options, and we're trying to mix a couple things up, and so we just got a little bit late. But, it's the birth of cool things in the works. So I guess that's all we can say, right? Or that's probably all we should say, right, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so some cool things are in the works. This is just kind of a little teaser of what's going on. But, we're working on some cool stuff. It's been a long week because we haven't got much content out, have we, guys?
Yeah, it's been a little bit rough, but we've spent a little bit more time and kind of focused on certain videos that are worth doing right. We're not going to get into too much detail, but a lot of these projects that we've been doing, they're kind of important. A lot of people have been asking us to do these kinds of videos. So we decided, we'll spend a little bit more time doing it right, so something better can become of it.
Exactly. I think it's a little bit more fun to because we just like making content. It's fun to make, but we kind of got in this rut of just churning out content, and that's kind of not a fun place to be. We kind of want to grow as creators and make fun stuff that we like to make, and then in contrast, that translate to a much better video and experience for everybody. Wouldn't you guys say?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like when we actually enjoy making the videos that we make, the quality of it is just so much better, and that's the whole purpose of the Holo Herald, is to deliver the best quality content about this subject to you, the viewers and listeners.
I read an interesting article. that talked about the power of being first or the power of being the best in like an emerging technology or something like that. I'm curious to your guys' opinions on what's more important. Do you think it's more important to be the first one to jump on something and to get the stuff out there, and whether it's let's say an app about different ice cream flavors or something like that. Let's say ice cream just got invented and someone made an app for it. Do you think it's more important to be the first app, or, sit back, bide your time, or maybe you're a little late to the game, but you come through with a much better technology? What do you guys think is more important?
That's a very excellent question that I'm not sure I have the answer to, because like being first obviously gives you an excellent advantage. However, being the best, I mean, people are going to want to go to your app per se. While we're talking about an ice cream app, they'd want to visit your app more. However, if you weren't first, if you, like you said, bided your time, you wouldn't have quite as much of a kind of a presence in whatever industry you're in. So I feel like it'd really have to be a fine mix of both. That's where I stand. Like you have to do your best to do both.
Yeah.
Well, I think in regards to technology, becoming the best piece of technology, it has to do something that the other product doesn't, and that will give you that presence that you need to become the best of the best. So that's my take on it. Kind of like IBM and compact computers.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point, because they were like the first to the game, right? Weren't they? IBM was like the first tech, but yeah, IBM was really early to the game in compact computers. I remember like the Satellite, and there's even ones way earlier than that, aren't there?
Oh yeah, I don't know much about their history, but I know IBM was the big guys that get like they owned the computer industry, and then Compaq came in and was like, no, and they showed them what's up and made the smaller form factor computer, and really took down
they made
IBM.
They made some key different decisions. IBM was very centered on making technology for professionals and offices and developers or whatever the equivalent of it was then. But then people like Compaq, and then Microsoft with the personal computer kind of came in and started delivering it to consumers. It's a key point in their stuff. So do you think? So in the early stages of I'm just gonna say the Holo Herald, do you think it's more important to focus to the developers or to the viewers? We can just have this conversation live. I mean, it's kind of an interesting.
Well, I think the purpose of this channel, because I don't know, we're not very technical people, are we, in our videos?
No, not in our videos by far.
I don't think we've ever talked about the specifications of the Hololens and the actual computing power of the Hololens. But we do test it, and I think we more appeal to the average consumer than the developer. I think that's the way we're going with it.
No, you're definitely right. And I think our biggest problem is there's so much room for us to grow, but the technology is moving so fast and the news is moving so fast that it is really hard to keep up. I mean, wait, Alex, did you check the store? Has any apps been released this week? Any new apps?
Yeah, quite a few actually. About 6 or 7 from just the last week.
So it's pretty interesting to see how fast, because I mean, this year, this is a great time for us to have this discussion, because we are just nearing, this Friday will be the 1-year anniversary of the Holo Herald on YouTube, or I think that's probably when we released our first video, or at least when we registered the domain or whatever. And just to see, but when it first came out, there was only Microsoft apps or Microsoft sponsored apps, but now we're finally starting to see actual developers making consistent apps and businesses making consistent apps. One thing that's really surprised me is the amount of games. Has that really surprised you guys, how many games there's been for the HoloLens?
Kind of. Not really. I mean, I guess when people think of technology, one of the first things they're going to think of are games. And I've honestly been a lot more surprised. It surprised me more how we haven't seen as many practical applications, like Holo Measure or Space Catcher, or we see quite a few interior decorating or interior design apps. But that's about it. There's not a much wider range, and people aren't really using their imagination as much as I would have hoped, because this is such a revolutionary, piece of technology, mixed reality. But I mean, everyone's just kind of just like real estate, which has been interesting to see, the Holo Real Estate app. But just like interior design apps, there have to be so many. I mean, if there aren't more games, if there aren't a ton of games, there are a ton of interior design apps.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that everybody latched onto that very specific idea. I mean, it was cool when the first 3 people did it, but after that, you'd think you would see all the other people doing it and, just kind of choose a different avenue, because there's so many different developing opportunities and avenues to take the technology, but people are kind of stuck on that, which is kind of a shame, but, it's easy, so people are going to kind of jump on the easy. So let's say, okay, so...
I mean, it's such a...
Go ahead.
It's such a bleeding edge technology. I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, we can't knock them for actually developing an awesome app that can be utilized. I mean, sure, there's might be a lot of those, but it's still a very impressive feat.
Oh yeah, it's still cooler than anything we could ever make. So as far as like developers, so we've been a part of the community for quite a while. Maybe we've more recently got into the developer community quite a bit and had a lot of conversations with a lot of the developers and got to know a lot of them and reached out, and they talked to us and we talked to them. We've been really kind of embedding ourselves in both communities now, because we kind of started out just being for the consumers and the people that didn't have HoloLenses, but now we're starting to cater to both. So as someone that's been part of both communities, what do you guys think is more important for a HoloLens developer at this point in time? To just just be the first to make an app, or to be the person that makes the best of that app? It's perfect with the real estate discussion. Do you think it's really important for the first real estate, or do you think now is the time when everybody should be trying to make the best one?
I'm gonna lean towards it being the best. They have to be the best, developer wise, because let's take it back to all these interior design apps. Nobody's gonna scroll all the way down to the very bottom and look for the very first ever, the Holo Design app that was released back in like early 2015.
Yeah.
People are going to want the best. And people are only going to want to show the best. HoloLens is still very, very underground. And if you're going to show it to somebody, be it like a friend, a relative, or some big business, you are going to want the best.
Would you say we're still in the stage of first with HoloLens development? Like, if you put out an app, even if it's been done before, you'd still be considered the first of that technology? Would you guys?
Of course we are.
You definitely think so?
Because, I mean, we're still on a developer edition hardware, so I think we're still in the developing stages of software as well.
What about our channel? Do you guys think our channel's like a beta channel then, basically?
Well, none of us have ever really done this. I mean, Eric, you streamed on Twitch for a little bit, so you probably had the most experience doing something like this out of all of us. But I feel like we are definitely growing with the community. So this could kind of be a first.
We have multiple comments, like multiples, like I'd say at least 5 or 10 comments where people just say, your channel's awesome, just keep making content. You guys will grow with the technology. Just keep grinding, just keep making videos. Love your content. We just want to see more. Just keep going. And I think that's kind of the stage what we're at. And I think that's kind of hard. I would think it's hard for us, but I would even think it'd be harder for a developer, especially a company. I feel like right now it's kind of, even though it's still a developer kit and stuff, let's say one of those Holo Real Estate apps are made, right? And after they make the app, no one downloads it. Is that because lack of people to download it or lack of good quality app? I think that'd be hard as a developer, especially something where you're, because we can make a few videos a week. So if a video doesn't do super well, it's like, oh, well, that video just didn't do super well. But as an app, could you imagine putting all of your efforts into this one app and then like nobody plays it? Do you think that's hard as a developer? Or do you think they expect it going into it?
I mean, I'm not sure, because if I were to develop a HoloLens app, my first app would probably not be very good, obviously. And but that's okay because I'm learning. So I'm expecting these first Hololens apps to not be very, very good. But as time goes on, we'll see more and more impressive apps as the community grows, as we get more developers working on single projects. I think we'll see a big progression in app quality.
Interesting. Yeah,
but
go ahead, Alex.
I feel at the same time you can't just obviously programming is a very difficult thing. No matter how good you are, it still requires a lot of time and a lot of patience because the code has to be perfect. There can be no mistakes. And so going through all this, that being said, you can't just release something and say, oh, well, this is my first time, it's going to suck. If you go through all that, you are going to want whatever you've put in your time, blood, sweat, and tears into, you're going to want it to do well. Which I can imagine would be very difficult for a HoloLens user, but at the same time, you have to realize, the HoloLens community is very, very small. We made the joke previously, our HoloLens has probably worked the hardest out of any HoloLens released.
Definitely.
And we are always downloading apps that we think we could, make videos off of. And we are a little bit finicky and persnickety about what we download and what we put onto our HoloLens because we don't want to waste our time looking through something and just flipping through. It's oh well, we can't make a video out of this, so we delete it. So
what's the percentage? I'm curious, what do you think the percentage is? Because we download a lot of apps. What do you think the percentage is of apps that we download that we don't make videos of to apps that we do download and do make videos of? Would you say it's 50% we make and 50% we don't make? Or I feel like we make less than I feel like we make less videos than I don't know how to phrase that. Do you understand what I'm saying, though?
We do download quite a few apps. Because, we'll look through them. We'll look through, we'll read, we'll look on YouTube to see if there's content already out. And if we like it, we'll download it. But if we find that we can't make a video of it, then we'll promptly delete it. So,
we download quite a few, though. I'd say probably one out of every four we actually make a video of. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, that is fair. So 25% gets thrown to the bin.
Yeah, definitely.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Which, I don't think that's a sign of the technology. I think that's just a sign of, people just, in anything you do, that's a fair estimate that that much of it's not going to be worth putting out. But when we first started, it was totally different. We would make a video of any app that came out. We would just find an app because there weren't as many to make an option for. It's weird to have this selection. Probably our video we regret the most, would you say, is Holo Dots, Austin? What do you think your videos that you regret the most?
Yeah, Holo Dots. We were stretching pretty hard to make that into an actual video.
Seriously,
it was just dots.
It's just dots, and then you could do geometrical spaces, which is a cool app to maybe download, try, delete. Alex, you had a great saying for them. What was it? You said something incredible about the apps. It's I would download it, try it, then delete it. I can't remember what it was. I don't know. Do you remember?
I can't either. When was this?
I don't know. You were it's the kind of app you would download but not keep.
Oh, it's the kind of app you would download, play for 20 minutes, and then never play again.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's a lot of the apps on the HoloLens, which is kind of sad. I can't wait to start seeing more longevity apps like Fragment or RoboRaid and stuff like that. I can't wait till developers can get to that level, which I think will be really soon here. That'd be awesome. Well, what's some of our news stories, guys? A lot's been happening this week in the AR community. Well, the AR sphere. You want to hit me with one of them? I haven't even looked at them, so I'm totally unprepared.
Well, you guys know what red cameras are? Of course you do.
Red Dragon, yeah.
Super high-end, expensive cameras that.
Yeah, the prosumer cameras.
The prosumer cameras. Well, this just in, Red has they have a smartphone now that's coming out, and it's called the Hydrogen 1. And it says it's the world's first holographic media machine. In your pocket, no glasses needed. Interesting.
Interesting how that's a selling point. I don't know. That's just kind of interests me that no glasses needed is a selling point.
Coming from the guy who created Oakley glasses too.
That's actually that's funny. That's a funny paradigm.
Yeah, that's pretty ironic.
But so the titanium version is $1,595 available for pre-order, and then there's the aluminum version for $1,195.
Wait, what's the first price of that?
$1,595.
Woo, is this a phone? This is a phone, right?
This is a phone, a smartphone.
Dang, okay.
And so
Push it, Doc.
So it's really high end, of course. It's let me find the specs.
Yeah, while he's talking about it, I think that's really interesting that it is kind of funny to see the switch. Normally you see phones getting into the camera business, whereas now it's the cameras getting into the phone business, which is really weird. It's a pretty honking looking phone, though. I mean, it's insane looking.
Oh, I think it looks super rugged and cool.
Yeah, it looks very cool, but $1,500, like that's half of a HoloLens.
Yeah, honestly. So the specs, it has a 5.7-inch professional hydrogen holographic display. So whatever that means. I'll just read it from it. This incredible retina riveting display advancement features nanotechnology that seamlessly switches between traditional 2D content, holographic multi-view content, 3D content, and interactive games. Both landscape and portrait modes supported.
Is that the only picture we get? Is that one picture?
That is the only vague picture we get.
What kind of crap is that? Is that a USB-C? Is that what I'm seeing down there?
That's a C.
Nice.
And it looks like it has, like, you know, those attachment things, like those phones with the attachments. I can't remember what company makes them, but you can attach like a portable speaker or.
Oh.
So I'm assuming these are going to be integrated with Red cameras, and it'll be like a monitor for them or whatever. Yeah, I think that would be cool.
So these aren't to purchase; these are to pre-order, or is these released and people just haven't got their hands on them yet?
I think they're pre-order. They haven't released them yet.
So when they say the first holographic phone, does it say? Have you seen anywhere where it says like what holographic means? Is it like Windows definition of holographic or Star Wars?
Star Wars. I'm guessing it's kind of gonna be like ARKit, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. You know, I totally see that. It's interesting. Okay. Well, it looks like what.
No, because that's mixed reality. It's gonna be. I don't know. Wasn't there something with the Fire phone that did something 3D?
I don't know.
In the video that I saw of it, it showed like the phone being like held, so the screen was facing towards the user, right? And on the screen there's like a shot of an aerial view of this skyscraper. And when you tilted the skyscraper, your view of the skyscraper tilted. So if I had it facing like the screen facing up towards the sky, and I moved it like 90 degrees, the camera, like my view of the skyscraper would shift to 90 degrees. So I would no longer be looking at the top of it from the sky down, but I'd be looking at it from the side, which I thought was pretty cool. So like it projects. It's a very small screen, but it projects through the screen of this phone. It projects kind of an augmented reality experience, which is cool. But I'd have to see more to call it $1,500 cool. You know.
Yeah. What's funny is if you look at the YouTube videos explaining what it is, all of them are majorly disliked, like insane. The dislike to like ratio is insane when people are trying to explain it. I don't know. I'm curious. Did you read anywhere where it says they're shipping them? Okay, Marquise Brownlee has a good video. He's a trustworthy guy. I'm gonna check this out. Do you know when they're gonna get released, Austin?
No, I do not. Wait. I can't remember where to find it.
So Marquise Brownlee. I don't know how to say his name actually. He's a pretty cool tech guy.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, Eric.
Go ahead.
The hydrogen one is targeted to ship in the Q1 of 2018.
2018. Oh, okay. So we still have a while. I mean, not a super long while in tech world, but it's not coming out tomorrow by any means. Okay.
And it says design shown may change, obviously, and this offer will be available for a limited time.
I'll post these in the chats, and just in case anybody's curious, the Marquise Brownlee video. That one's got the most like ratios. I didn't have time to watch it, so I'm promoting it without any context, but he owns like 3 Red cameras, and so I'm going to assume he knows what he's talking about.
He's a Red fanboy?
Yeah, I'm going to assume he's got some probably insider information, because Red cameras are actually pretty interesting. You can't buy a Red camera from Red. Like, you can't just go on Amazon and buy a Red camera. Well, let me fact check that real quick. Amazon. I don't think you can. Red camera. Oh, did you guys see Amazon just changed their UI? That was weird. Yeah, I was right. Okay, yeah, you can't just go on to yeah, okay. You can't just go on to Amazon and buy a Red camera. You have to like actually call Red and then call one of their distributors and do deals with them. And there's like insane amount of process to actually own one. You have to get like licensing and stuff. I think actually, I don't think you can just spend cash on one.
Is it going to be that painful with this phone?
I hope not. It looks, from what I'm understanding, you can just grab one right there. Isn't that what it looks like?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's so sort of kind of bring it back to the holographic thing. It's intriguing to me that they're getting into this. Does this mean like we're going to see like holographic stuff built into the Red cameras? Or, I mean, it's just really interesting to me that they're leading with the holographic tagline. Does that seem interesting to anybody else?
Yeah, I find it interesting, but I find it a little bit peculiar that, everybody like Microsoft and Google and Apple is all saying the phone's dead, the phone is dead, the phone is halfway out the door. And then Red comes in and just, hey, we got a phone. Like that, they're pushing MR through a phone, while the rest of the world is saying, no, MR's done. So
exactly.
I don't know.
I'm curious who their target market is with this. Is this for enthusiasts? Is this for tech people? Is this for professionals?
I feel it's for people who own Red cameras and make movies. Because it says there's like a whole like hydrogen ecosystem that's going to be coming out. Like they're going to have something greater in the future, and this will be like your system. Your phone will control everything. So I'm sure there's going to be a whole line of hydrogen products or something.
Hydrogen. Here's their PDF they put out for it. Hydrogen, the world's first holographic media machine. In your pocket, no glasses needed. Exactly like Austin said. With one fell swoop, the future of personal communication, information gathering, holographic multi-view, 2D, 3D, AR, VR, MR, and image capture just changed forever. That's a pretty bold statement. Changed forever. I mean, there's not much to change right now. There's nothing really set in stone. But, wow. I mean, personal communication. Look at all this they're trying to do. Personal communication, information gathering. So most phones can do that. Holographic multi-view. I'm curious what that means. 2D, 3D, AR, VR, MR, and image capture. What an interesting way to sell your phone.
I don't know, man. My Magic Leap alarms are just going off in my head right now. But I shouldn't give them too much crap because they have a picture.
They have a picture.
They have a picture.
And they've released products. They've actually changed the way that they're really the ones that took it from film to digital, in my opinion. I think Red is the one that really with their 4K sensors, and now I think you can go up to like 16K. Their new Dragon, I think it is. Well, I don't know if it does 8K or 16K. I don't remember correctly. But anyways, I mean,
which is a shame if you like film.
Oh yeah, if you're a film fanboy of traditional rolling film, is what he means by that. Yeah, it is kind of a shame. But there's trade-offs. Think of the power you get with 16K footage. That's insane.
You can pretty much do whatever you want.
But it's just kind of a changing of the guard, film is timeless. 70mm film is always going to be around, but other things are going to come about, Think of liken it to cars. Just like the old Mustangs, like Camaros, Chargers, Chevy Nova. Like my dad, he had a Chevy Nova a long time ago, and like he regretted selling it for like $2,000 because like in mint condition and restored, they're worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And just like people like still restore them, like there's still kind of there's like a group around it, you know? Heck, in like where we live, there's an enormous car show a couple of weeks ago. And people from all over the western U.S. came to our little podunk town to show off their cars, old cars. So, newer stuff is going to be around, but, I mean, we're going off into film now, which is kind of a tangent, but...
A dark hole for us, too.
A very dark hole for us that we may never get out of. But, I'm also excited to see what, new generation of cameras can come out with.
We should... there's so many, and it's such a saturated, polluted field, but we should do a film podcast or something.
You know what I find interesting about this whole Hydrogen One thing?
Yeah.
I don't think they even really talk about the camera on the phone.
So I found this PDF. I'm going to drop this PDF in the chat. This actually shows a lot of information on stuff. We're going to put it in the Twitch chat for everybody that's not there. I'm going to put it in the YouTube chat for everybody that's also not there. Okay. So it says right here, the Hydrogen One is a standalone, full-featured, unlocked, multi-band smartphone operating in Android OS. Okay, I was kind of curious what OS it was going to run. That just happens to add a few additional features that shadow the mold of conventional thinking. Okay. Glasses obsolete. So there's big, bold words. Glasses obsolete. Wearable displays not spoken here. It is no longer necessary to carry or charge another device to enjoy multi-dimensional content. Experience look-around depth, in quotes, whatever the crap that means. Sorry. In the palm of your hand, no glasses or headsets in sight. That's so weird that's a selling point, I don't know. I feel like every phone has that. Am I wrong? I feel like it's the other thing. Like, that's just a normal thing for phones to have. Am I crazy?
No. It's interesting. It's an interesting route that Red's going. I mean, I never expected Red cameras to be in the phone market in the first place, so let's see what they can do.
The incredible Retina riveting display advancement features nanotechnology that seamlessly switches between traditional 2D content, holographic multi-view content, 3D content, and interactive games. Both landscapes and portrait modes supported. This sounds like a lot of buzzwords, if you ask me.
Yeah, and a few minutes ago I tried and failed miserably at explaining the video. Austin, you need to look for it, because Austin was the one that showed me the video, and it seemed really cool, and it was kind of unique what they were showing, like with the skyscraper and with a couple of other demos that they were showing off. So, Austin, if you could post that so anybody interested can see that, because it very well could be worth pursuing.
Yeah, I believe
if they do it right.
I believe there's clips of it in that one video Eric posted.
Oh, okay, sweet.
With Marquez. Okay,
yeah.
This is so weird. Look, did you read the thing about their new audio algorithm they're adding into it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it apparently can turn your stereo sound into multidimensional audio 5.1 on your headphones? What? It's just for music, it says. For movies or music. Wow, I mean, okay. What do you get? Wow, okay. Well, that's interesting. Should we order one?
Sure. Right after we get a new HoloLens and a Magic Leap 2.
Oh, man. Look, we're not going to be able to keep up. Our video about which device should we get is more important than ever right now. I mean, I'm kind of... I think we're by the end of the summer, I think we're trying to look to get a different device. But it's kind of scary, because it's you get the Meta 2, and then Red drops a Red drops a mixed reality device, or Apple drops a mixed reality device. It's kind of scary with the technology moves so fast. I don't know. We're gonna have to look into it. Okay, well, that's interesting. We'll keep our eye on that. I'm interested. Let's add that to our news watch from now on, because I'm super curious to see how that turns out. All right, what's one of our other news articles, boys?
All right, so I've got one here that starts out saying AR and mixed reality have more potential, but VR has all the hype. And it kind of talks about why that is. And it kind of talks about the correlation between technology and video games. And they start off with a survey that asks, what is the focus of your current/potential work in VR, AR, or mixed reality? And number one, of course, at 78%, is game/entertainment. Whereas at
Who's filling out this study? Who did they ask to fill out the study? Wait. I'm curious. I'm super curious. Is this people they interviewed and asked?
Yeah. So it's like designnews.com. They talked about this, and they asked a group of people, their preferences. And they're like 78% is games and entertainment, but also 27% is training and education. 19% are branded experiences, and there's stuff like medical care and retail and commercial, and travel, and then real estate is at the bottom at 6%. But there's a 13% of this little group selected something called other.
Can you drop this in the chat? I want to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. But what surprised me is like 13% of these people talked about there being like a different like field, which surprised me because like training and medical care and retail and travel, like this is all very specific, which makes me wonder what
the other ideas were.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds cool. Was military one of the options?
Oh, that very well could be the other, because that was not one of the options. That's a very interesting point.
So why does VR have all the hype? Is it just because it was out first, or?
I think that people try to milk a VR for all it's worth before they start switching to another technology. You can't switch on consumers so fast. You can't just say. You can't just give them this really awesome technology and then be like, oh, here's one that doesn't necessarily defeat the purpose of that one, but it's going to hit your wallet for another big chunk. You got to milk it for all it's worth and kind of pace yourself. So that's probably why they're still going with it pretty hardcore right now. I would presume, at least from a business perspective. And from a consumer perspective, I don't think consumers are quite done with VR yet. I don't think we've explored all the possibilities of VR. Nearly, not even close. So I think that's probably why it's there. Hey, Ravi, thanks for showing up, man. You mentioned Sean Ong's video. Yeah, I saw that. He freaking sent us a picture of it and made us super freaking jealous. And he says it's a review kit. If Sean Ong's listening, where can we get a review kit? Who do we have to talk to? Whose butt do we have to kiss to get a review kit? Because, boy... that was one of our options to get, but we can't really just drop $400 like it's nothing, but we could really use a kit. I'm super curious about that. I'm actually going to watch that right now. I think we should all take a little break and go watch that. And by break, I mean keep talking.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add there?
No, I want to check this out. All right. One day ago, 10,000 views. Dude, Sean Ong freaking kills it every time, dude. Freaking every time. He's the
dope.
King.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's really nice too. He's a good guy. We like Sean. If you could give us a shout out on his channel, that would be really great, though. Just saying. Because he's got 36,000 subscribers. All right. Yeah, dude, he dropped this picture of it. It was beautiful. Doing a comparison. Man, one day we should break the news on something. How great would that be, guys?
To break the news on something?
Yeah.
It would be pretty awesome.
Well, we've broken reality quite a bit, but nobody watches our videos, so nobody knows.
We make cool content. Watch our videos.
Guys, we're doing just fine. The Holo Herald is just fine.
You're right. The Holo Herald's just fine.
Shame on me for being a cynic.
Sean's been in the game for a long time. We don't have it. All right, so he just scanned in his space. Okay, he's in his virtual office. Sorry, this is not very engaging. I'm gonna drop this in the chat for anybody that's listening and hasn't watched it yet. And this will definitely be over there. Thanks, Ravi. Dude, that means a lot, actually. You'd be surprised how much it means for someone to actually say that they watch our videos, or to leave a comment saying, hey, this is cool, rather than saying, hey, I love you guys, but your content's crap. Nobody does that, right, guys? All right,
That's poor taste.
Okay.
All right, let's see what we got. Okay, he's filming through the lens. Everybody, pause the podcast. Go watch this video. Subscribe to Sean. Great guy. You'll get way better content than we make. Just a lot less frequently. Okay. This is cool. This is really cool, actually, because Sean, this is the first video content we've actually seen of this,
It's true. So I'm confused. This isn't mixed reality, is it?
This is VR. It's holographic environment, I think. I don't know what they've coined it. I think it is mixed reality. No, I don't think it's mixed, because this is virtual reality mixed with your... Dude, we need some solid terminology on this. All right. Sorry, this is getting kind of boring in the podcast.
What do you think, Ravi?
Ravi, you just blew our mind.
What do you think the terminology would be?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, okay. If you're listening to the podcast, go ahead and leave us a comment and tell us what is this considered? Is this considered VR, MR? I'm not listening to the audio, so I can't hear what he's saying. We should start Sean. He's a genius guy. We should get Sean on our podcast.
Ooh, that would be nice. It'd be really cool to hear what he has to say too, but also maybe a little bit terrifying.
Yeah, no, he's so nice. He's so nice. He's such a nice guy. We've already talked to him on... Okay, wait. Okay, so he can't... Does it have onboard recording? Or is he recording it? He's holding his camera up through it, correct? It doesn't have onboard recording. You would have to screen read it in. You'd have to... Because our biggest thing, the reason we didn't get one is we didn't know if you could do onboard recording or if we would have to just screen capture.
So apparently you can't.
It doesn't look like it. It looks like he's...
Look like it. Which doesn't affect us, because I'm sure we could just OBS the
screen.
The screen.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. I don't know. It looks pretty cool, though. Okay, I'm going to say this, and people are not going to be very happy with this. I don't really get the point of this technology. Am I the only one?
Yeah, me neither. It seems like a repeat. Like, it's been done before, right?
I mean, this looks like a sick VR headset. You know what I mean? Like, awesome. Like, you don't need big towers. You don't need to spend $800. You know, you could do all this cool stuff with it. But I don't know. I don't...
Maybe, Eric, it goes back to being the best and not the first.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Aching back to the very beginning of our contest. You know, maybe there... I'm so curious. I would love to sit down and pick someone at Windows' brain about this product. Because out of all the products we've seen released, you know, I would love to see Magic Leap stuff and talk to someone at Magic Leap. But I would almost be more interested to talk to someone about this, because out of all of the products that have been released, this one has made me the most curious on what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish, who they're trying to sell this to. You know, I'm just really curious, because we've seen some really cool tech demos with it. Remember the tech demo me and Paul talked about it last week, but Austin posted it. The two-person video where one person had the Windows holographic headset and one person had the HoloLens on, and we just thought of the possibilities with that, the military applications, the work applications for that, you know. But I don't think that's like an everyday consumer. Like I don't see us using that every day. I don't see my parents or anybody else using that every day, which is maybe not their angle. What do you guys think?
You know, like, sky's the limit, really. I can't think of an angle either. I'm with you. I'd love to hear, like, what they were thinking when they went through this, because there's obviously some, you know, marketing roundtable where a whole bunch of brilliant people thought, hey, this is what we need to do. But I can't figure out why.
Well, this kind of goes into the article I was going to talk about next. Ravi he commented, he said, Windows Mixed Reality will help expand the Windows ecosystem far beyond the PC. It's like the next level for PC users and also gamers, which is awesome, because I do think that's where we're going with this. On this article that, jeez.
Oh, I agree with Ravi too. He also said before that, he said MR is a platform for experience. Sorry, let me retry. MR is a platform to experience it, regardless of whether they're developed for virtual reality, augmented reality, or anything in between, which is really interesting, because there's going to be a lot of people that have a different Wow, I am having a stroke or something. There's a lot of people that have differing views of mixed reality. You know, our definition is different than the next person's definition, different than Microsoft's, or now Red. Red's getting into the game. Red cameras. They're getting into the game using mixed reality. What is their definition of mixed reality? This is something we've been saying since podcast 1, since video 1. We need whoever is the leader in the community. It's not us as much as we would like to be. Whoever is the leading product developer, or I don't know who it is, but we need solid naming culture. Is that what it's called? Nomenclature? We need solid definitions for these words, because I think that is going to hold back mixed reality more than anything, is people having no idea what the heck they're trying and trying to explain it to other people and them not being able to explain it and not having words, or because mixed reality is, depending on your definition, can be a very abstract view or a very simple terminology. I don't know. I'm just saying, if anybody's out there listening, or if you guys are following anybody on Twitter, or if you guys know anybody, we need to get some names down, because we tried to get a video, AR, MR, VR, what does it all mean? Because, we thought we knew what we were talking about. And it figures out everybody else thought knew what they were talking about. And we all think we know what we're talking about. And nobody has freaking any clue what they're talking about. Not us, not anybody. So, I don't know. We just need it. Sorry, continue on with your article, Austin.
So, it's called the Windows Mixed Reality Home. So you get your new fancy Acer headset, and it's like a virtual reality home, but it's like you make it yourself, and it has multiple different rooms. Like it says there's even like a home theater included.
Sweet.
So it's completely like lose yourself in this virtual reality experience, and it's pretty cool. And it's like, I want to say this, it's like prepping you for the future, where you can just like throw a browser out on your wall and browse the internet just right there. It's getting closer to that point in technology.
So I don't know. I'm just curious, because to me, it looks and sounds a lot like VR, but they call it MR. I understand why they're calling it MR, because, it uses spatial mapping, and it can measure certain devices within your space and everything like that, and it doesn't need external sensors. And I understand why they're calling it that, but at the same time, to a consumer, just thinking about from a consumer perspective, it seems like VR. I don't know. I just wish Ravi just said another great thing. He says Microsoft calls AR as MR, while Google calls the same as RR, which is real reality, which I've only heard a few times said out there, and I've only heard real reality in the underground world of like people talking back and forth. I haven't heard a company use the term real reality, and so they're throwing out another reality. We need to get our reality straight, guys. Do you guys agree? Am I crazy, or am I ranting too hard about this?
No, I agree with you 100%, because like this whole AR, MR, VR thing, VR is a teensy bit self-explanatory. However, people are figuring out how to make it more complicated than it really is. And if I keep going this route, somebody's going to hear this and just shred me to pieces in the comments down below. But I don't know, just like you're right, Eric. I agree with you 100%. People, there just needs to be concrete definitions, like in the freaking Oxford English Dictionary or whatever, because it's getting confusing, and it's bringing out kind of a toxic side to the community. To the community, exactly.
No, well, the thing is we understand there's set definitions for all of these, but these are scientific views. Talking about the virtuality continuum and mediality continuum. You start saying words like that, and you're going to scare consumers and other people so far away from you that it's not going to even matter. Like, I understand that there's been set terms for a lot of these in science fiction and in true science for a long time, but we need like actual definitions where I can explain it to a 5-year-old and they understand what I mean. We always talk about that in programming. If you really know and understand a technology in programming or a concept in programming, you should be able to explain it to a 5-year-old and have it make sense. We need that so much for mixed reality and stuff, because it's so hard to explain to people, and we'll say a definition and people will throw out really scientific views at us, or people will throw out a completely different way than we explained it. We just really We just really need it. Whose obligation is it to do that? Like, what do you guys think? The world.
No. Somebody has to just rise to the pedestal and take the challenge and accept the consequences. It's almost going to have to be a movement, like the French Revolution. They're just going to have to pick up and go with it and fight the torrential hatred.
So, like, the way I see it is like the new technologies that are going to be coming out. They're going to be able to do it all, like augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality. So what do we call that? Like
it exactly that's like the buzzwords that we were kept hearing when we were reading the hydrogen thing. I don't know what they called it. There was something else, and it just makes it hard for us as content creators to, we tried it. Like, we've gotten to the point, like when we first started the Holo Herald, we would only say mixed reality because that is what Microsoft said it was. This is how they sold it to us, was mixed reality, and they were the first people that we heard ever say that. So we called it mixed reality. But if we just call it mixed reality, there's a lot of rise up in the comments, and there's a lot of rise up on Reddit and stuff like that. So we've gotten to the point where I basically, if I ever say mixed reality, I always say augmented reality with it. AR, MR, hand in hand. Which, what the heck is the point of saying them if I'm saying the two exact same freaking things, And which one is it and which one isn't it? And we would say our views now, but we'll get crap if we say our views now. So I don't know. It's weird to me.
Well, Eric, how bad do you want crap? How bad do you want some armchair cowboy to just light into your rear end,
Cowboy.
Oh man, about a different topic, I'd go right at it. I don't mind stirring the pot, but this topic has just been so overplayed. It's like, I think I don't even know if you guys were around for this part, but the biggest debate in our comments back in the day was that we called them holograms. We called the objects in front of us, the visual displays, the whatever you want to call it, we call them holograms. Every comment, every video, this is just me complaining, and sorry, you guys can get out from my rant for a minute, but every comment and every video was, that's not an actual hologram. Stop calling it a hologram. That's not an actual hologram. Don't call it a hologram. And it's like, oh my gosh, guys.
Eric, it's not a hologram.
It's not. I understand it's not a hologram, but what am I supposed to call it? An overlaid image, an overlaid 3D object on my environment. I don't know, but I haven't seen that comment in a really long time. Have you guys seen that comment at all recently?
What comment? What?
That don't call them holograms because they're not holograms.
I haven't seen that one.
No,
Exactly. So that's died off. And so I wonder if the whole mixed reality debate will die off too, but I don't know. It's really interesting.
Well, with the whole it's not a hologram thing, you've got everybody, including Alex Kipman, the man himself, calling them holograms. What else are you going to call them? There really isn't anything else. So people figured out, like it's all just fluff. Whatever's coming out of their face holes just really isn't worth hindering because there's nothing else better to call them.
Ravi just said there's a new thing called augmented virtuality. I've heard of virtuality, but I didn't know there was augmented virtuality. I'm gonna Google that one. All right.
Anything augmented is good, isn't that right, Austin?
That sounds exciting.
Augmented virtuality. Sounds like it links me to mixed reality. The first definition when you wait, no, okay. AV is a subcategory of mixed reality, which refers to the merging of real-world objects into virtual worlds. What does that even mean?
So, like, your real-world objects interact with your, dare I say, holographic objects.
But how is that different than? I'm not getting into it. I'm not getting into it.
I think that's what it means.
Time will tell, Eric.
It doesn't matter what it means. I don't care. I thought that's what mixed reality was. I don't know. I guess I don't know anything. Okay.
No, because your mixed reality objects aren't interacting with anything besides the parameters set by your scan,
which is your surrounding area. Which is real world objects.
So it is AV. Wait.
No, it's MR, Austin.
No, it's AV.
real world objects. So is that like, say I scanned my chair and then it appeared in my VR world? I'm thinking that's what it means. But still, it's a mess. It's a mess. Am I right, Ravi? I think regardless of if you agree on the terms of someone else's definition or if you don't, we can all agree that it's a mess. I think we can all hold our hands and sing Kumbaya together about how messy it is. I think
good thing this isn't the biggest problem in the world.
Yeah, you're definitely right. But it's one of those ones that if we don't nip in the bud, I think it could catch up later on and be kind of a big problem. Whereas because it raises problems. So let's say the $20 MR headsets. Does that really have the right to call itself MR if you're comparing it to the HoloLens MR headset? There's a lot of ambiguation in these definitions and stuff. And so Ravi posted another comment. And one more thing, Alex Kipman is working on a new mobile in Microsoft. Maybe it can be something like Apple's AR kit in mobile. Have you heard of Google Tango? That's pretty close to the biggest competitor I can think of. Project Tango. It's Google who makes that, correct?
Yeah, it is Google Tango. And yeah, it's basically what Apple is doing, only Google did it first.
For quite a while.
But Apple has just such an insane community of fanboys that I'm pretty sure Tango's not going to last much longer. That's my prediction.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tango kind of screwed themselves because they're on you had to get a specific device for it, and that was kind of you're not going to get people to buy a whole new device just to try this.
I think Apple approached ARKit in a very clever way.
Genius.
I'm impressed.
Apple kills it every time. We can crap on Apple all the time we want, but there has not been a time in a really long time that Apple has not killed it.
Yeah, love them or hate them, they know what they're doing. And like you said, Austin, it's brilliant how they came up with it because everybody and their dog has an iPad or an iPhone, and it's
a new one too.
Yeah, a new one at that. Because so many people are just so obsessed with getting the newest iPhone and having like this, just like, oh, by the way, here's something a little bit extra. It's going to catch on, which is very smart for them, and it's also very positive for the MR community, which is very, very exciting.
So yeah, you're exactly right. We talked in length about ARKit, about our thoughts, and apparently it destroyed the credibility of the Holo Herald, but that's all right. ARKit's interesting. I guess my biggest things with these is I can't wait to see what happens and how they affect the market, because now the fact that Microsoft's trying to work on a phone, does that mean they're going to stop development on the HoloLens, or that they're going to beef it up? I don't know. I'm so curious.
The phone's dead. Maybe.
That is so weird, because we can go quote Alex Kipman, I think. I'm going to Google it so I don't misquote him, because he's the man. Alex Kipman, phone is dead. That's the first thing when you search his name. Yep. He you can quote him, the phone is already dead. So Ravi, for you to say that, which I totally believe that they're working on it, don't get me wrong, I can 100% believe, but the fact that he's working on a phone, kind of weird. I don't want to say hypocritical, because he's gonna make what's gonna sell. It's kind of interesting that they're working on it. I don't know.
For a man with I'm just gonna say he has a lot of influence, I would assume, in just like the technology world. So for someone like him to say that, I just feel like it was just kind of a marketing scheme to say that, to promote all this new technology, to promote the HoloLens, like all this like AR dev kit stuff, so people can, he must know something we don't, so we better just drop our phones and jump onto the next big thing. When in reality, I would like to formally disagree. I'm in no hurry to replace my phone for a HoloLens, and heck, the rest of the world doesn't even know what the HoloLens is. So I think they're gonna try this, kind of bridge the gap between phone and MR device, and have a phone that does MR before they push hardcore the goggles or the glasses. That's my theory.
I think people take his statement very literal. I don't think I don't think he's saying the phone is already dead. Technology dies when there's no longer room to progress in that technology, or there's not as much progression as there should be in that technology.
So
and
the phone then
evolved into other fields. Exactly. So I think it's more of a evolutionary field, and that takes a while to catch up to consumer grade. So you're exactly right. You may not be ready to give up your phone, but people creating technology have been starting to realize that the phone is a very limited form factor for information. Because, I mean, basically all your phone is information, getting information from point A to point B. And mixed reality is such a rich environment for that. And the phone has become almost obsolete to that environment for information.
So, like, are we past the point of, like, needing... like cell towers? Is that what we're saying? Or like
No. You know, that you might not always still have a phone. Who knows? That's what's so exciting right now is about who knows anything.
So
a
when
million
we say
things could happen.
When we say the phone's obsolete, are we talking about that form factor, like the phone?
Yes, I'm thinking
Okay.
saying like the smartphone. Let me pull up that quote exactly. Alex Kipman, the phone is dead. He says the phone is already dead. So Microsoft is. I can't find the quote exactly, but that's just the article. Okay. Phone is already dead.
Or maybe Microsoft is just butthurt because their Windows phone didn't last very long.
I mean, yeah, it's Microsoft. I don't think phones were ever their biggest worries, to be honest. Microsoft deals very little in hardware now and most extensively in software. So, I don't know. I don't think they're butthurt about much. They did something bad. I think they realize it. And Alex Kipman, most of all, was not in any of those departments. So, I don't think he would be that butthurt. He'd probably be happy if anything else.
So are we just gonna expect like future technologies to be able to make phone calls? Is that?
Yeah. Okay, so I think you're focusing too much on the word phone, and I think by phone he means the current most popular technology. So if we look at the past and see what has changed history the most and what technology has evolved the way we live the most, it is the smartphone. And I think what he means by that is he's saying we're now onto a new breed of technology that's going to change our lives, and we're going to look back and we're going to say what has changed us the most and what has changed the way we view information the most. And I think we're going to look at that and see augmented reality, mixed reality, real reality. I don't know, or whatever the spectrum is. We're moving towards that, and we're moving away from it. We've hit that middle point. You know when you okay. Here's a perfect example. When you throw a ball up in the air, you know how it hangs there for just a second, and then it drops. You know what I mean? I can't remember what that's called in physics, but that's where smartphones are right now. They're hanging there. You know, they're no longer launching up. As far as progression goes, and as far as changing the world goes, they've halted, and they're staying there, and it's going to hang there for a little while. You know what I mean? But then it's going to drop, and then a new ball is going to get thrown up. So I think that's what he means. I think it's kind of a buzzy statement that has a lot of ideology behind it, and a lot of stuff summed up into a few couple words. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, yes, it does, and I agree with you, because, the phone very well could be dead, because the phone is not what's important, it's communication.
And information, and the way we see information.
Absolutely, because for the longest time, communication was very limited with just payphones and those enormous block telephones from the 90s, but then, the cell phone came out, and then the smartphone came out, and just blew everybody away. So until somebody can come up with a better alternative, which they're obviously trying to do, the phone will not die. But we have to remember the phone, is not what's essential. It's the communication and the access to information that's essential.
I don't know, Alex.
Hear me out. When all these MR devices can come up with something more seamless, then the phone will die. Why are you laughing, Eric?
I'm not laughing.
I don't know, Alex.
Me and Austin just shared a look where we just smiled at each other. It's nothing about you.
Talking on a shoebox is pretty aesthetically pleasing,
What do you mean?
Like the 90s.
Oh.
Talking on a shoebox.
Your vintage crap. Get out of here, you hipster.
Or the car phone. Eric, I want to hear what you have to say. If you guys want to talk some smack here.
No, I'm not talking smack at all, man. I totally agree, 100%.
No, I agree what you're saying.
Just the way that way is. So here's a way to sum up what you said really quickly and really low terms. The way communication and communication is basically just information. So we're just going to sum it up into that. The way information is packaged is changing. And we've seen that throughout time. The way information has been packaged since the beginning of time. Like Austin just said. He said the shoebox. You had you would stand on a shoebox and you have an announcer, the Herald, the Holo Herald. Follow us at Twitter, follow us at YouTube and Twitch. You'd have a herald and he would explain information. And that was your quote unquote technology, for lack of better words. Okay. And then we got on to, you could write and send letters. Okay. That became a new way for us to share information, or you could read, or you do that. There was writing. Okay. And then we moved to computers, blah, 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 blah.
Then Al Gore invented the internet.
I'm not going to go through the entire progression of human history, but you can see where I'm getting to. In the past couple years, we've got to computers. Okay. Computers were a way to, access information, whether it's through communication, whether it's through reading, whether it's through whatever your platform happens to be, more specifically, the internet enhanced that so much. That was the way information was delivered, was through the internet. And the internet is never going anywhere, so do not get me wrong thinking the internet's disappearing, because that's a joke. But then it became the phone. Everybody has this microcomputer. It's still all computers if you look at it relatively, but the way it's packaged is different. You now have it packaged in a little brick in your pocket, a little slate in your pocket. And now the way that's going to be packaged is through augmented reality in your space around you, through glasses. And that's what I think he's saying by the phone is dead. Would you guys agree with that?
Not if you read cameras.
Not if you read cameras.
But I agree.
I said the exact same thing you just said, Alex, just with different terminology. We're all saying the same thing. But how long until you guys think that catches, now to take his saying in a more literal sense, how long until you guys think that catches up to consumers?
Oh, geez. I have no idea.
Yeah, back in the day when we all had, not smartphones, but now, it took roughly about, what would you say, 6 years? Now everyone has a smartphone?
Oh, I wouldn't even say 6 years. I would say it was 2 to 3 years the majority of people had smartphones.
2 to 3 years?
The iPhone took it by storm, man.
So, I guess, but the thing is,
I don't think it'll be as breakthrough as the iPhone.
Yeah, it's not going to be as breakthrough because the Hololens is already out and you don't see everyone just flocking to buy a Hololens, Mm-hmm. So, I think it's going to be a bit longer than that, but I've been wrong many times before. So,
do you think it's smart for creators of this technology, whether it's apps or hardware or whatever it happens to be, do you think it's smarter for them to abide their time and sit by and wait, or do you think it's good for them to kind of rush it now? What do you guys think?
I think maybe rushing it.
Really? I would say abiding.
Yeah? I remember, actually, my little sister, a couple of weeks ago, found my second generation iPod Touch.
Nice.
And the first thing that struck me was just how small it was. I remember when I first got it for Christmas, years and years and years and years ago. I don't even remember how old I was. I was maybe 12 or 13. And I'm almost 21 right now. And so I remember just when I first got it for Christmas, I opened up and saw that my year had been made, and it was the coolest thing ever. And I remember I would download some of the stupidest apps, like the app where you could select a gun, and every time you pressed on the screen,
dude,
your phone would, right? It was so cool. But then
hook it up to your car stereo.
But then you think of all the new the iPhones, the iPod Touches, the 5, the 6, the 87. They're just insane. They're just so much better. So I think if the HoloLens were to rush it a little bit, it'll be the same thing, we'll look back 6 or 7 years from now at our cute little first generation HoloLens that we started this channel with, and we'll have like already like a 4th or 5th generation HoloLens that will be so much better. Just like a contrast between like the iPod Touch, you know. So I think that they'd be doing good to hurry things up, because people are going to want to see progress or they're going to lose faith.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And I think to this question, I think this is the hardest thing about just delivering technologies in general, is this question right here, is when to deliver your technology. When's the best time? Because that has a lot to do with how well it does, you know. And, you know, whether it's like Alex said, they get it out there and they get the technology out there and they get people excited, they get people pumped, and they just get it in people's hands and they get it in their world, and then people just integrate it so quickly that they don't even realize it's happening, and then they have it and they're just so used to it that it's ingrained in their lives and it's another part of their lives, kind of like the iPhone did, I would say. Or, you know, sit back, bide your time, watch the other technologies come and go, and then wait for that time to strike that's just positively perfect. You know what I mean?
Magic leap?
Magic. This Aikens back to the very beginning of the podcast, and I think this is probably a good place to start wrapping up, so we'll kind of finish out with this, because it all came full circle, is in this technology, on a broad spectrum, is it more important to be first and quick and in the user's face, or is it more important to be the best and wait and abide your time and give the people the best experience possible? And I'm not saying which way is the right way. We're not saying there's a right way or a wrong way, you know, but I mean, it's a very interesting place to be. And I think Ravi, thank you very much. He just said, well, you guys contribute so much. You can ask Microsoft for some devices. We're still scared crapless of asking people for devices. I think we are number one. I think we're definitely number one in what we do. And we're first. I think that's a good place for us to be.
Yeah. We're doing pretty good.
We're by far number one, and we're the first. We're definitely the first at what we do. I think that's a great place to be. And whether mixed reality comes out and it gets in people's faces and we grow really rapidly, or we grow kind of steadily, I have no idea which way is better. I'm not going to argue which one's which, but you know, I'm excited to be part of it. Aren't you guys?
Oh yeah, it's been already super fun. Just diving this deep into a community and getting to know the people in it and experience the technology and the innovation behind it all. It's just incredible what a group of humans can do.
Exactly. I'm really excited for it. I'm excited for us to get out of our little circle jerk that we have in this office and start getting some new people in here and asking them what they think about stuff in our podcast. You know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward. I mean, we already have like 3 or 4 people that have hit us up, so we need to get on it, because those people are not going to be sitting around forever waiting on us. So I guess we need to get on it, which brings me to a good point. If you guys are interested, Ravi, or anybody that happens to be interested out there that has some knowledge of some sort, or just likes to talk and have some discussion, we are looking for people to be on the podcast, to interview, or to just be featured, or to just, you know, just come chill with us for a little while and do it. We probably won't do it live, because who knows what people will say, crazy things. But we'd love to have like a little 30, 40, 20-minute segment, whatever it happens to be, and feature it on our podcast. We're so excited to do that. We want to embed ourselves even deeper with our... We want to have a nice contrast. Don't you guys think it's a good idea to have like developers and consumers on our podcast, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you heard it. I mean, whether you have 0 subscribers and 0 followers on Twitter and 0 knowledge, hopefully you have a little bit of knowledge, but if you have 0 knowledge, or whether you're Alex Kipman or Ronnie Abovitz that would like to be on our podcast, hit us up.
Ronnie would hate us.
Alex Kipman?
No, Ronnie.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh, dude, you know how much I would you guys have an interview with Ronnie Abovitz?
Yes. I would in a heartbeat. Mostly because I want to know what he is up to.
Dude, I want to talk to this guy. I want to figure him out. He's such a quandary to me. I've never seen a CEO like Ronnie Abovitz. I've never seen a company like Magic Leap.
Dude, we should ask him.
There's so many unknowns. Dude, there's no way he would give us the time of day. He's meeting... Dude, he loves to meet with people like Beyonce and Jimmy Kimmel, or I don't know. He only meets with celebrities, dude. There's no way.
Has he met the Alex Reed?
Alex Reed, dude. There's no way. There's no way he's he's not that kind of guy. You know, I could maybe see Alex Kipman. Alex Kipman seems like a solid dude. You know, doesn't really give a crap about who he's talking to. Just wants to get the technology out there. Busy guy. But Ronnie, I feel like. I hope he hears this and he can prove me wrong. He just doesn't feel like the kind of guy that'd be interested in talking with a couple schmucks. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I don't know. He might surprise us.
You know, in between talking to Ricky Gervais and NBA All-Stars, he's going to have to squeeze in the Holo Herald in somewhere on there, you know.
we pale in comparison. But we're not like that. We want to talk to you no matter who you are. We'd love to have you guys on. Ed, our biggest dream is to be on Coast to Coast. So the more... I'm going to get on the tangent here. Anyways.
All right. This is time we should wrap up the podcast.
I'm going to go ahead and going to read the last few comments we've had, and then we're going to close this bad boy out. Thank you again, Ravi. I'm a 15-year-old developer. I want to work for Microsoft when I grow up. That's the reason why I love Microsoft. No, I want to be Shanong. I don't want to be Shanong. I want to be Panos Panay. I'm going to pretend like I know this name and Google it really quickly. Entrepreneur. What did he do? What did he create? Go into his LinkedIn. We're going to figure this out.
So, Ravi.
Oh, he works at Microsoft.
I'm going to call you real fast. Who's Panos Panay?
No, I got it. I don't need
nobody.
Oh,
Eric's got it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That's still cool, though. That's still very, very cool.
Co-creator of Surface.
Ooh.
So, we're ending the podcast. This has been great. I love you guys. Thank you for everything you guys do. The Holo Herald is my life right now. It means so much to me. I wouldn't change anything in the world. It's so great, and we do it all for the viewers. And nobody gets to the end of the podcast. So if you guys get to the end of the podcast by chance, you are a true OG. And for that, I thank you so much for listening to our podcast and just being part of the community in general. I mean, this is just awesome, and it means a lot to us that you guys participate and stuff. So I just like to say thank you guys again, and you guys are our best friends. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.